How to take first step for talking. Leo always admired those who spoke English effortlessly, their words flowing like a river. He, however, felt a constant struggle, a tightness in his throat whenever he needed to express himself. The fear of making mistakes overshadowed any desire to even begin, leaving him silent and frustrated in crucial moments. Taking the very first step for talking seemed an insurmountable task for Leo. He knew the grammar rules, possessed a decent vocabulary, yet actual conversation remained a distant, intimidating mountain. He longed for the confidence that others displayed so naturally when engaging in English dialogue. He often wondered how to make confidence in speaking appear from thin air. Was it a magical spell, or was there a concrete, actionable process he was missing entirely? Leo desperately sought a roadmap, a clear guide to navigate the intimidating landscape of real-time English communication. The concept of how to think and speak simultaneously perplexed him. His thoughts formed in his native tongue, then underwent a cumbersome, slow translation process before any English word could escape his lips. This mental bottleneck made spontaneous conversation nearly impossible for him. He observed how to talk in English among fluent speakers. They didn't seem to translate, their ideas simply emerged, fully formed, in the target language. This observation fueled his curiosity and also deepened his sense of inadequacy, reinforcing his perceived distance from their fluency. One evening, browsing online, Leo stumbled upon an article emphasizing why reading is important for language acquisition. It argued that consistent exposure to written English builds intuition for sentence structure and vocabulary naturally. This idea intrigued him greatly, offering a new path. The article further stressed why you must read English extensively. It wasn't just about vocabulary, reading provided context, cultural nuances, and natural phrasing. It painted a picture of reading as an immersive experience, a vital foundation for true language mastery, beyond mere memorization. Leo decided to embark on a journey of English story reading. He started with simple tales, children's books even, feeling slightly embarrassed but committed. The stories, though basic, began to subtly reshape his understanding of English sentence patterns and idiomatic expressions. He discovered that reading different genres improved his grasp of diverse vocabulary. Mystery novels introduced suspenseful verbs, while romance novels provided emotive adjectives. Each story offered a unique linguistic playground, expanding his mental dictionary without tedious rote learning. Slowly, through consistent reading, Leo noticed a shift in how to think and speak. Instead of translating full sentences, he started recognizing patterns, anticipating words. His internal monologue, once purely native, now occasionally featured snippets of English phrases he had read. This was his initial attempt at internalizing the language. He began consciously trying to form his thoughts directly in English, even if imperfectly. He would describe his surroundings or narrate his daily activities silently, building a mental bridge between thought and English expression. Observing how people speak English became a significant part of his learning process. He paid attention to intonation, rhythm, and common conversational fillers. He noticed that native speakers often used contractions and spoke faster than he was accustomed to hearing in textbooks. He realized that fluent English communication wasn't just about perfect grammar, it was about natural flow and understanding context. People didn't always speak in complete, grammatically pristine sentences, which surprisingly relieved some of his pressure for absolute perfection. To truly improve his English, Leo knew he needed to move beyond passive learning. Reading was excellent, thinking was a step, but actual vocalization was inevitable. He understood the next big hurdle was to practice speaking aloud, despite the lingering fear of judgment. His first bold step was talking to himself in English. Standing in front of a mirror, he would introduce himself, describe his day, or even narrate a scene from a book. It felt awkward initially, but it allowed him to hear his own voice speaking English. This solitary practice was crucial for building foundational confidence in speaking. It eliminated the external pressure of an audience, allowing him to stumble, correct himself, and experiment with pronunciation without immediate embarrassment. He started feeling slightly more comfortable. Next, he sought opportunities to how to speak with people. His first real-world attempt was with an online language exchange partner, someone who was also learning his native language. This created a safe, reciprocal environment for both to practice and make mistakes together. The initial conversations were halting, filled with pauses and occasional mispronunciations. Yet, the other person's patience and understanding made a huge difference. Leo found that the pressure lessened significantly when he realized his partner was also facing similar struggles. Each small success, each completed sentence, slowly contributed to making confidence in speaking grow. He celebrated tiny victories, like asking for directions successfully or understanding a joke in English. These moments fueled his motivation to continue practicing diligently. He learned that embracing mistakes was vital for how to improve your English. Instead of fearing errors, he started viewing them as feedback, guiding him towards more accurate and natural expression. This shift in mindset was transformative, reducing his anxiety considerably. Reading continued to play a pivotal role. The more stories he consumed, the richer his vocabulary became, and the more instinctively he understood complex sentence structures. This constant input provided the raw material his brain needed to produce fluent output eventually. He noticed that the characters in English story reading often displayed various speaking styles. Some were formal, others informal, some used slang. This exposure to diverse conversational patterns helped him understand the nuances of how people speak English in different contexts. Leo started actively listening to podcasts and watching English movies without subtitles, attempting to pick up on natural speech rhythms. This immersive listening practice complemented his reading, training his ears to recognize spoken English more quickly and accurately. He understood that how to think and speak effectively meant developing a strong link between conceptual understanding and immediate verbalization. It was about bypassing the translation step as much as possible, directly accessing English vocabulary and grammar from his mind. This mental agility came from consistent practice, both internal and external. He would visualize conversations, mentally rehearsing responses, thereby preparing his brain for real-time exchanges. This precomputation significantly reduced his on-the-spot hesitation. The importance of why reading is important became clearer with every speaking session. When he encountered an unfamiliar word or phrase during conversation, He often found he had previously seen it in a book or article, making comprehension easier and faster. Why you must read English extensively was no longer a theoretical concept but a living truth for Leo. It was the wellspring from which his speaking ability drew its depth and richness. His conversations began to include more sophisticated vocabulary and complex ideas. He joined a local English conversation club, another significant step for talking. Surrounded by people with similar goals, he felt less isolated and more encouraged. The group provided a supportive environment where everyone was striving to how to talk in English better. In the club, he practiced expressing opinions, debating topics, and sharing personal stories. This varied practice diversified his speaking skills, moving beyond simple introductions to more elaborate discussions. His confidence blossomed with each successful interaction he had. He learned how to speak with people not just through direct conversation but also by observing their nonverbal cues. Understanding body language, facial expressions, and gestures added another layer to his overall communication competence in English. The club leader often gave advice on how to improve your English, emphasizing consistent exposure and fearless practice. They encouraged members to keep reading English story reading material, even simple articles, to maintain a steady input of language. Leo started a small journal, writing down new vocabulary and phrases he encountered, especially those from English story reading. This active recall solidified his learning, helping him remember new words and integrate them into his speaking repertoire more effectively. He paid close attention to how people speak English naturally, not just in terms of vocabulary, but also fillers and pauses. He learned that native speakers use, like, or, sometimes, which made their speech sound more human and less robotic. Making confidence in speaking became a result of accumulated small successes. Every time he managed to articulate a complex idea or tell a funny anecdote, his self-belief increased exponentially. The fear began to recede, replaced by a growing sense of capability. The first step for talking, he realized, wasn't about perfection, but about permission. Permission to be imperfect, to stumble, to try. Once he granted himself that freedom, the entire process of learning became less daunting and surprisingly more enjoyable for him. He continued to immerse himself, understanding that how to think and speak was a continuous development. He challenged himself to describe complex scenarios or express abstract concepts directly in English, pushing the boundaries of his linguistic comfort zone. His reading habits broadened significantly. From English story reading, he progressed to news articles, scientific papers, and even online forums. This diversity of text ensured a constant flow of new vocabulary and different writing styles, enriching his linguistic foundation. Why reading is important truly resonated with him now. It wasn't just a passive activity, it was active training for his brain. It sculpted his understanding of English, shaping his thought patterns and preparing them for seamless verbal expression with people. He became a staunch advocate for why you must read English, sharing his own transformation with others struggling with the language. He emphasized that consistent reading cultivates an intuitive sense of language, far more effectively than rote memorization alone ever could. Learning how to talk in English became less about a rigid curriculum and more about organic growth. He discovered that the best way was through authentic, repeated exposure and brave attempts at communication, regardless of initial awkwardness or potential errors. His transformation in how to speak with people was remarkable. The once timid Leo now confidently engaged in lively discussions, sharing his thoughts and listening intently to others. He found immense joy in connecting with individuals from different backgrounds effortlessly. He understood that how to improve your English was an ongoing journey, not a destination. There were always new words to learn, new nuances to grasp, and new cultural contexts to understand. He embraced this continuous learning mindset with enthusiasm and dedication. His initial fear of taking first step for talking had completely dissipated. He recognized that everyone starts somewhere, and consistent effort, combined with strategic practice, inevitably leads to significant progress in any language learning endeavor over time. Making confidence in speaking was no longer a mystery. It was the direct result of deliberate practice, self-compassion, and celebrating small victories. Each successful conversation, no matter how brief, added a brick to the wall of his growing self-assurance in English. He even started advising newcomers on how to think and speak more fluently, sharing his journey of internalizing English. He stressed the importance of thinking directly in English, bypassing translation, to achieve true spontaneity in conversation naturally. Leo continued to delve into diverse English story reading materials, recognizing their immense value. They provided not only vocabulary but also insights into narrative structures and character development, skills that subtly enhanced his own storytelling abilities in English. He often reflected on how people speak English in various settings. Formal meetings, casual gatherings, academic discussions, each demanded a slightly different register. His reading and listening had equipped him to adapt his language effectively across these contexts. The journey of how to improve your English became a source of profound personal growth. It wasn't just about language, it was about overcoming fear, building resilience, and expanding his worldview through new connections and shared experiences with others. He encouraged others to embrace English story reading, emphasizing its entertaining yet highly effective nature. He firmly believed it was the most enjoyable way to expand one's linguistic toolkit and develop an intuitive feel for the rhythm of the English language. Leo, once silent and hesitant, now spoke English with an ease he once thought impossible. His voice, clear and confident, carried his ideas effortlessly. He had conquered his fear, transforming it into a powerful motivation for continuous linguistic mastery. His story became an inspiration, a testament to the power of consistent effort and the right strategies. He proved that anyone could navigate the complexities of how to talk in English, provided they were willing to take that crucial first, brave step forward. He never stopped reinforcing why reading is important, especially English stories. He understood that rich input was the bedrock of strong output, ensuring that his speaking remained natural, varied, and sophisticated, avoiding repetitive or basic phrasing patterns. His journey solidified why you must read English daily. It wasn't just for vocabulary, but for cultural immersion, for understanding subtle humor, and for building a vast mental library of authentic expressions that made his conversations more vibrant and engaging. He now truly knew how to speak with people, not just in terms of language, but in terms of connection. His confidence allowed him to build bridges, share laughter, and foster genuine relationships across linguistic boundaries, enriching his life immensely and continually. From tentative whispers to confident conversations, Leo's journey illustrated that overcoming language barriers begins with courage and continues with consistent, joyful engagement. His story is a powerful reminder that fluent English is within everyone's reach.